Hola amigos, it's me, Paul, and I'm right here in Bucerías, Nayarit, Mexico. And today we're gonna meet Josh, who moved from the United States to Mexico because the healthcare system in the US wasn't working for him. Now, he's doing something right here in Mexico that's helping a lot of people. I think many of you are gonna be very interested in what he's built here. And stick around to the end of this video because I have a special offer just for moving to Mexico viewers like you. So without further ado, here's Josh's story.
My favorite part of living here, I've lived here over 17 years and I've never had anyone complain about the price of gas. I'm Josh Kettner. I've lived here in the Bay of Banderas for over 17 years now. Bucerías is such a nice town. It's all cobblestone streets, you can walk around. It's super safe. You've got one of the only little parts of the bay that every street has beach access, so you get a good vacation out of it. You can come fix your problems, hang at the beach. Like it's a healing vacation. You know, you're not going to Cancun to just, you know, waist deep, drink beer all day and, you know, get feeling worse. It's a good place to heal. So I came here over 17 years ago pursuing an idea that I had, this thing that I had thought about opening an assisted living community here in Mexico. I had a friend who already lived here in Puerto Vallarta doing real estate. My job was work from home, so I came to kind of work with him and do that. To take it back a little more was because my dad had Lou Gehrig's disease a little over 20 years ago, and with that, we found really quick firsthand just how bad the American medical system can be. It's not fun when there's certain medications you want, you're not able to get. With ALS, he was looking into other muscle wasting diseases. And he came across like HIV muscle wasting. They're gonna throw testosterone, growth hormone, these different meds at you like you're a bodybuilder. Well, for a guy who's about 50 and has ALS, which is terminal, they wouldn't let him try it. They told him it fell under the Anabolic Steroid Act, and that was frustrating, right? Then they make you this guinea pig in these different experiments. You don't even know if you're getting the medicine. So that wasn't fun. Eventually he passed. I was caregiving for him, went and worked for a company called A Place for Mom. My job was work from home, so I was helping people, you know, find assisted living, senior care, and I thought, you know, it's good, but it's very overregulated, it's very expensive, there are problems with it. And I read an article one day and it said, man outsources parents to India. I was like, okay, that's cool. You know, lower cost of labor, you've got great doctors, you've got great healthcare, a lot of advantages, but too far away. And we used to vacation in Mazatlan every summer growing up. And so I thought, you know, Mexico's pretty similar, that might work. Moved here because my friend was here, started working with him part-time, seeing it was very possible, had some very big investment groups interested, just never quite worked out. And then I met my wife, who's from here in Puerto Vallarta. Things went great, got married, all that, and her sister is a doctor. And with her being a doctor, I learned some different things. It's legal to seek medical treatment abroad and return home with up to 50 dose units of medication to the US, like a 90-day supply to Canada, Europe. And I started thinking, well, my dad wanted things like growth hormone, testosterone, these things that were very difficult to get up there, if not impossible. You know, there might be other people. And before you knew it, I had a website, had people coming down, and we started growing from there, and that eventually led into stem cells. Imagine my arms like a tube, that's the capillary. They live on the outside like a little octopus wrapped around. And they squeeze, release, control your blood flow, but when you're injured, they come off and they go to the area and they guide the healing process. So let's say my elbow hurts. Well, it's inflamed, it's sending out signals saying, help me, help me. Well, the mesenchymal stem cells pick up on that. If we put them in there, they're gonna get there and they're gonna start telling the growth factors, the different cytokines, different things in the system to do their job. So they're managing. And I don't know if any of you have ever had a building project, but if you don't have good management, the workers aren't going to work. And that's what happens to our bodies over time. They're not working the way they should. So the stem cells go in, they find what's inflamed or damaged, and they start guiding the removal of scar tissue first. That's usually what's preventing it from healing. And then once that's gone, they can heal the underlying tissue. In fact, my elbow, about a year ago, I crashed my dirt bike in the mountains here and 50% tear of my tricep tendon. Put cells in. It took about 3 months, but according to new MRIs, fully healed. And I had to take it easy because I can't be the stem cell guy getting surgery. So I had to fix that, and it's all good. I'm lifting heavier now than I did before. They can help joints, they can help autoimmune diseases, they can help organs, anti-aging. So there's a lot of different things, but they're essentially working the same way in every case. They're working via the inflammation markers to heal. For autoimmune diseases and for joints, there's a huge interaction with the immune system. So what they do for the immune system is if you have, let's say, rheumatoid arthritis, your immune system is attacking your joints. You'll see people with like their hands start getting all bad and stiff. Well, what the stem cells will do via the IV is they will reprogram the immune system as they're going through your bloodstream, and it's like hitting the factory reset button. They're saying, hey, stop attacking, start protecting. The most common treatments that we see are, number one, are knees. Everybody's knees seem to go out at some point, whether it's the cartilage, meniscus, ACL, MCL, something either partially tears or degrades. Now, if it's a complete tear, we can't fix it. But if it's a partial tear or it's reduced cartilage, we can fix that. It's a really simple injection. The number two treatment would be herniated discs in the lower back. I've personally had that. Sciatica felt like a cattle rod to my femur. I used to think people with back pain were big babies. I work out all the time. And then I had that, and it's like you can't ignore that kind of pain. So that's number two. And then after that, we see a lot of autoimmune diseases. We see a lot of stroke or traumatic brain injury recovery. We have a specialized treatment for that where we go into the spinal cord fluid called intrathecal, gets them to the brain. That's worked incredibly well. And then organ failure, like I'd say hearts, we do a lot of hearts. We see a lot of that, especially all the post-COVID stuff. And then, yeah, that's kind of the short list. Okay. I had a genetic heart issue a few months ago, and next door to our hospital is the largest hospital in town. Another big advantage of Bucerías. It's called CMQ. They've got 4 operating theaters. They've got like just a huge hospital. The cardiologists there we work with for certain procedures. Well, my mom had this issue where she had a little hole in her heart, genetic, and it can cause issues later in life. She had a little stroke. So in the US, the standard of care was to just wait till she had a really bad stroke, and then, then they'll fix it. And you're like, that sounds insane. So I'm 42, I want to get ahead of this. I go talk to my cardiologist, they do the scan, sure enough, I have it too. They went, they fixed it, my insurance here covered it. I have MetLife for my whole family. So another thing, insurance, medical insurance is way cheaper here, very comprehensive. And this would have been probably a $40,000 or $50,000 procedure in the US, or no more, it would have been in the hundreds of thousands. I think even here it was like 30 or 40, but my insurance covered it. They went in very preemptively and fixed it. It was like a 1-hour procedure. It was, they're so skilled. I cannot stress enough how skilled the surgeons are. One of my good friends is a plastic surgeon here. He spent like 6 years in Chicago training. But he's a Mexican doctor and he works here because the quality of life he can have here is so much better than in Chicago, even though he'd make less money. So one of the orthopedic surgeons we work with worked with the Miami Dolphins, worked with the Barcelona soccer team. He's just down the road, and when there's something we can't fix with the stem cells, that's who I send them to. You've got these kind of like top level doctors in this area that is a tourist town, and that makes it just amazing for medical tourism and keeping it safe. So if you come for treatment, let's say for a joint, any of our treatments, most people turn it into a vacation because you're not gonna have that kind of downtime. Like if we did your knees, you're gonna walk out of there that day. Worst case, you could feel a little sore that night or the next day, but you'll still be walking. So you can still go downtown, go see the Malecon, go walk around. We don't want you to go work out, push it hard for a few weeks, but you'll still be able to have a vacation. The day of treatment, we don't want you jumping in a pool or in the ocean because there's a lot of bacteria. And with any injection, you got to worry about infection. We've never had an infection, but let's just keep it safe. But yeah, a lot of our patients come down for a few weeks. You know, minimum is 5 days, but you could stay here for a few weeks, a month, the summer. I mean, a lot of people snowbird here. They'll spend the winter and hang out because the weather's so perfect for like 9 months of the year. So yeah, you can make it a vacation, or for a lot of people, it turns into a permanent thing. I've had a lot of patients end up moving here because they liked it so much. So with stem cells, there are some misconceptions. There's some confusion. First, a lot of people think they're unethical because they're coming typically from aborted fetuses. Ours do not come from that. Ours are from live, healthy births, so they're totally ethical. I'm Christian. I wouldn't do the embryonic, right? So that's just my own take. Everyone's got their own. But so you've got that kind of concern. Unfortunately, the embryonic, they never were able to get to work. In fact, even the state of California put the last few hundred million into mesenchymal stem cell research. So that's usually people's first kind of confusion with it. Mesenchymal stem cells are different. They're how your body naturally heals. And then you've got to look into how they're being processed. Like, we're one of probably the only lab in Mexico that actually does it ourselves, only does our own stem cells for our patients, and we go over the top. I have a link on the website that says certified stem cells. You can see all of our licenses. You can see we've been ISO rated, International Standards of Operations. So that's internationally recognized that we have air purity to a specification internationally acceptable, which is huge because your lab has to be pure. That if not, you lead to infection and problems. We have to be very careful where we get the tissue from. That's why we work with a team of gynecologists and only work with first-time mothers. Fortunately, we only need a new umbilical cord every 2 to 3 months, so we're not going through a lot of this, but all of that is tested by us and an outside lab. We work with one of our advisors. He runs the Institute for Cellular Research here in Mexico. He's always coming and helping. We've got biologists all licensed, so it's really the quality control. I do get high on my own supply. I'm a bad drug dealer, dipping into my own stash. But yes, so I don't know if anybody has had more stem cells in them than me, right? Like, because I will not offer something I won't do myself. So I've done every joint in my body, whether I needed it or not, and I have needed it. My knees I fixed first. I've had sciatica, herniated disc. My lower back, I've had herniated disc in my neck. All self-induced, stupid. And I feel like I push myself too hard on purpose so I can get hurt. I can fix it. Dirt bike accidents for the elbows. And yeah, a lot of things. I had eczema before I ever did stem cells, and that's gone away just from the IVs. I do an IV maybe 2-3 times a year. We have a facial treatment. I put stem cells in my face because I'm vain and I got to be on camera a lot. So, you know, I'm 42, trying to keep my age down. That's the goal. Look, I'm not the guy who wants to live to like 200 like some of these biohacker guys. I just want to get as far as I can, as best I can. Mobility is key. Like, once you lose mobility, it's pretty much proven you're going to die or get close to it. So I just want to make sure that, you know, if I make it to 100, I'm still moving at 100. I don't want to be that 100-year-old like in the wheelchair that can't move. So it's all very preventative. And look, my dad died of a really bad, rare muscle wasting disease. So that's at the back of my head. I've done the intrathecal treatment twice to get him to my brain. That's the toughest treatment to do, not because it hurts. It doesn't hurt at all, actually, but we put a needle into your spinal cord fluid. It's really tiny. It's like a 25 gauge through the lower back. And mentally, it's a tough one because you're worried, is it going to sever my spinal cord? I'm going to have issues. Well, it can't do that, and we've never had an issue, but mentally, it's a tough one to wrap your head around, and the second time wasn't any easier than the first time. But I've done that because I don't want to be the guy that says, yeah, it's really good for you, but I've never done it. How could I explain this to you if I hadn't done these treatments? So I've done them all except the prostate, and that's because I don't have a prostate issue. So that's kind of that might be a weird one to get shot at if you don't have an issue. It's unreal when you get to see these people heal from something that they're just gonna give you a handful of pain pills back home and say, go home and die, basically. The thing that keeps motivating me to keep going is just the results. Having patients call back and hearing that we fixed something that you're not supposed to fix, and it changes their life.
Thanks, Josh, for sharing your story. Really cool stuff. Now, if you're thinking about coming to Mexico for treatment with Dream Body Clinic, we've set up something special for you. Book your stay with Beach Life Properties in Bucerías and get 10% off your vacation rental when you receive stem cell treatment from Dream Body Clinic. Valid for stays between April and October. And here's the best part. Those months are already our low season, so you're getting the discounted rate on top of the exclusive offer. I've also included the link to Josh's business, Dream Body Medical Center, down below in the description so you can learn more. And when you speak with Josh, be sure to mention that Moving to Mexico sent you. That way, you're getting the best deal possible. And I'm curious, would you ever consider coming to Mexico for medical treatment? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching today's video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. De mi familia a la tuya, Dios te bendiga.